Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today we are wrestling with a really interesting one, a question that kind of brings together extreme risk and, well, massive potential. Is Ondas Holdings a good time to buy right now? And hey, if you appreciate us, pulling apart these complex stocks like this, please do hit that like button and subscribe. Oh, and definitely leave us a quick comment below if there's a specific company you want us to scrutinize in the future. We do read those. So our mission for this look is, I think, absolutely essential today. Ondas Holdings presents this dramatic contradiction, doesn't it? You've got these staggering financial losses sitting right alongside a unanimous strong buy consensus from analysts. It's unusual. So we need to quickly synthesize the fundamental weaknesses, the technical strength, and those near-term catalysts to give you, our listener, a clear, balanced outlook on what looks like a pretty high-stakes scenario.
It truly is a study in financial contradiction, like you said. When we analyze this company, you really have to start with the sticker shock. The hard financial reality that kind of explains why the stock is trading where it is right now.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack this because the headline numbers are, well, they're brutal. The reports show Ondas Holdings had a significant revenue contraction. It fell to, $7.19 million in the last reported year?
That's right.
That's a staggering 54.2% decrease year over year. I mean, staggering. And if you look at the trailing 12 months net income, it shows a substantial loss. Negative $49.55 million. That's serious red ink for a company this size.
It is serious, no doubt. But here's the crucial context, the thing analysts seem to be focusing on. While that dollar loss is large, it actually represents an 8.5% improvement compared to the previous year.
Oh, okay, so less bad than before.
Exactly. It suggests management's cost mitigation strategies, their efficiency efforts, they are starting to kick in. They're successfully reducing the rate of cash burn, even if the absolute loss is still high. And as you'd expect, really, for a high-growth tech company in this phase, they pay no dividend. It's all about reinvestment.
Right. Typically, though, losses that size would put a company on, like, a crisis footing. But we can't talk about financial strength without addressing the biggest recent event, the one that completely shifts their runway, that capital infusion.
Exactly. This is the potential inflection point, isn't it? Ondas Holdings recently completed a massive stock and warrant offering. They raised $425 million. And it's critical to note this wasn't just a basic stock sale. It included warrants.
Which gives investors the option to buy more later, right?
Yeah.
At a fixed price.
Precisely. So this capital raise provides a very strong foundation for future growth, and it addresses those immediate capital concerns. Crucially, this shifts the primary risk for you, the investor, away from solvency risk, the fear of running out of cash, and puts it firmly onto execution risk. Can management actually deploy this money effectively now to grow the business?
That is a fundamental distinction.
Okay.
However,
Yeah.
even with $425 million sitting in the bank, the analysis still has to issue a pretty crucial warning, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. The bullish case, well, it has to be tempered by incomplete information. We found data gaps persist in the reports we review for key balance sheet specifics, detailed free cash flow figures, and also granular insider buying activity. And when you're assessing a highly volatile, high-growth stock that just raised a huge amount of money, missing those pieces means you are essentially making a more speculative bet. It requires a bit more faith in management's maybe unverified figures.
Okay, so summarizing that bit. Huge losses historically, but money in the bank now and improving efficiency, but some blind spots in the data. Which brings us back to the central puzzle of that strong buy consensus. Why are analysts so bullish? What makes Ondas Holdings different enough to justify buying into this current level of financial risk?
Well, it seems to come down entirely to their technological differentiation and market positioning. Specifically in industrial automation, Ondas Holdings isn't really competing on price or volume. They compete on highly specialized mission-critical technology, almost exclusively business to business.
Okay, tell us more about those specific tech niches then. What are they actually selling?
So the company operates in two main segments, Ondas Networks and Ondas Autonomous Systems. Ondas Networks focuses on private wireless networks and these mission-critical applications, primarily through its proprietary FullMax SDR platform.
You threw out SDR, software-defined radio. What does that actually mean for their industrial clients? Why is that important?
That's a great question. It basically means flexibility and, crucially, reliability. Think about, say, a 500-mile stretch of remote railway track, or maybe a vast utility grid out in the middle of nowhere.
Right, where regular cell service is spotty at best.
Exactly. Traditional cellular networks are often patchy or just unreliable in those kinds of environments. The FullMax SDR platform provides guaranteed, high-speed, secure communication that the railway or the utility actually owns and controls. This is that industrial-grade communication layer where failure is simply not an option. And that niche, well, it can be highly profitable.
That makes sense. Yeah, essential infrastructure connectivity, secure pipes. Okay, what about the autonomous system side? That sounds, well, much more futuristic.
It is, yeah. And it's arguably their biggest bet for the future. This segment involves advanced AI-powered drone technology and automated data solutions. Specifically, they utilize something called the Optimus AI drone. And we're talking about autonomous drone logistics here, not just surveillance.
Logistics, like moving things around.
Yeah, sort of, but more complex. The unique selling proposition is that the Optimus drone is an autonomous logistics platform capable of carrying custom, heavy AI payloads. Think precision inspection of infrastructure, complex maintenance tasks, asset tracking over large areas, all automated. And the reports we saw noted that the implementation of, quote, innovative strategies in Q2 is what analysts are tracking really closely for potential sector outperformance.
Okay.
They believe these innovations, especially around the drone tech for industrial inspections and logistics, will start translating into large multi-year contracts.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting, right? If we connect this to the bigger picture. Ondas Holdings seems to be positioning itself not for the consumer tech market, but for the fundamental, maybe necessary retooling of global industrial infrastructure. They're selling the digital pipes and the automation needed for the next generation of logistics and industry.
Precisely. They are definitely trying to ride that macro trend of increasing global acceptance of industrial AI drones and private wireless networks. So when you look past the current balance sheet just for a moment and focus on the technology, you can see the potential for that true operational disruption that the analysts are clearly betting on.
Which makes the technical indicators all the more fascinating, because this is where that volatility really comes into play. If you're considering this stock, I mean, you really have to mentally prepare for a genuine roller coaster ride. The stock's high-risk, high-reward profile is just undeniable. The current price point as of July 25, 2025 was $2.13.
Okay.
But look at the 52-week range.
Yeah.
57 cents to $11.07. That is absolutely massive volatility.
It just swings.
And its beta is 2.07, meaning it typically moves, what, twice as much as the overall market?
Roughly, yeah. That's enormous upside potential, obviously. But it requires significant risk tolerance from an investor. But from a purely technical standpoint, the analysis right now is actually flashing very strong bullish signals. The reports indicate a momentum score of 2.267, which classifies it as a solid buy candidate. Furthermore, the MED, that's the moving average convergence divergence, the 3-month MACD specifically, indicates a clear buy signal right now.
And METD tracks momentum, basically.
Yeah, essentially it tracks price momentum. When it crosses positively, like it has here for Ondas, it suggests healthy bullish momentum is building up. And while the short-term moving average suggests, a temporary dip is possible, maybe some consolidation, the long-term average indicates a firm buy signal. So that points to an overall bullish forecast, technically speaking.
Okay, now wait a minute, though. We had these massive gaps in financial transparency you mentioned, significant execution risk. Yet the momentum models are signaling this is a strong buy and projecting a potentially huge upside. How do we reconcile the, 90% probability the trend model is flashing with the persistence of those financial data gaps? Is the technical data even trustworthy here?
That's the essential conflict, isn't it? That's what you're buying into with a stock like this. The technical models are simply tracking current trading patterns and momentum. They're not analyzing fundamental value directly. They are trustworthy in the sense that the market is clearly anticipating something, probably based on that $425 million war chest and the technological hype surrounding the drones and networks.
So the market's betting on the future, not the past financials.
Pretty much. And that trend model suggests a short-term bullish trading range for the next 3 months of $6.31 up to $7.80. That's based on a 90% probability within their model. This projection is exciting because the near-term potential seems tied directly to a few crucial calendar events, things coming up fast.
The catalysts.
Exactly. The catalysts expected to accelerate momentum. First and foremost, you've got 2 key financial reports. The Q3 earnings report is scheduled for October 15, and then another report is scheduled for November 11th, 2025. These are primary upside triggers because they're expected to highlight that year-over-year operational improvement we talked about earlier, specifically the shrinking rate of loss, showing progress.
Okay, proof points.
Right. Then you have potential institutional impacts. ETF rebalancing happens around October 25, and institutional investor reports come out around November 1st. These are expected to increase market visibility, specifically because that recent huge capital raise will likely put the company on the radar of more funds.
More eyeballs, potentially more buyers.
Exactly. Institutions moving in could lend immediate stability and credibility, or at least increase trading volume. And finally, there's the inevitable speculative buzz, which, we must treat with a healthy dose of skepticism, but it can certainly move the stock rapidly.
Rumors, basically.
Yeah. Rumors are circulating about potential new partnership announcements, maybe major drone product launches, or even critical regulatory approvals, say for drone delivery logistics using their tech. If any of those rumors get confirmed, the momentum could accelerate dramatically, and you could potentially see the high end of that technical range, maybe even breached quickly.
Okay. So we have the bullish technical structure, a calendar full of potential triggers, and a huge bank account from that offering. But before we get to the final investment thesis from the sources, let's just quickly revisit the risk side. Because this isn't, a buy and forget stock for your grandmother's portfolio. This feels more like a true venture capital play being traded on the public market.
Absolutely agree. The primary risks remain those cold, hard financial facts we started with. Ongoing net losses. The severity of that past revenue contraction, 54.2% year-over-year, is still concerning, and the high execution risk. That risk is inherent in relying on new product acceptance and hitting milestones, plus getting those crucial regulatory approvals, especially for drones. And that persistent lack of visibility into some key financial metrics, that's a risk you are actively buying into right now. It requires a higher tolerance for uncertainty.
Right. And yet, despite all those caveats, the analyst community seems largely undeterred by the fundamental picture, at least for now. 4 analysts maintain a consensus strong buy with a 12-month average price target of $7.25. And the highest estimates apparently go up to $12.
Yeah, quite a range, but universally positive from that group.
So this brings us to the source material's final conclusion. It lands on an overall bullish rating of 8 out of 10. For you, the listener, what this seems to mean is the stock looks highly attractive, potentially, for short-term traders, people capitalizing on the upcoming earnings and product events, maybe aiming for that $6 to $7 range we discussed. But it could also be strategic for long-term investors who are aiming to capture early leadership in these niche industrial infrastructure and wireless connectivity markets, provided, of course, they have the stomach for extreme volatility along the way. So, to summarize our look at Ondas Holdings, it really is a high-wire act. It's highly volatile, carries significant financial risks in the rearview mirror, definitely. But its strong technological differentiation and those multiple near-term catalysts seem to be pointing towards substantial potential upside in the coming months.
And maybe here's the provocative thought we can leave you with today. We focused heavily, and rightly so, on that $425 million capital raise. The discussion going forward, perhaps the most important discussion, should shift entirely to how management chooses to deploy that capital.
What they actually do with the money.
Exactly. Do they prioritize M&A activity?
Yeah.
Maybe roll up some smaller competitors in their niche? Do they look for strategic alliances to share development risk and costs? Or do they attempt rapid expansion into new markets to aggressively reverse that negative revenue trajectory we saw last year? That deployment strategy, how they spend that cash, is probably the key metric to watch now for Applied Knowledge. It will likely determine whether this whole venture bet ultimately pays off for investors.
That focus on deployment really is the next level of analysis, isn't it? It determines the success of the entire bullish case, potentially.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for walking us through this really complex and, frankly, fascinating scenario.
My pleasure. Interesting one, for sure.
And thank you for joining us on Investing Talk Podcast. We'll catch you next time.